On this week's weekly video fishing forecast, we have a preview of the July edition of the Fisherman magazine. Our correspondents have the latest reports and the results on last weekend's tournament from around the island. And I have some tips on skinny water fluke fishing from Shinnecock, all here at thefisherman.com.
The fishing news is sponsored by these fine partners.
The July issue of the Fisherman magazine is out now. Are you on the hunt for that doormat fluke? Check out Captain John P. Lee's article. The Fisherman has been on the forefront of a striped bass tagging study. Read all the details in the story and check out the related video by clicking on the card in the top right. Max Christensen has a great read on inshore pelagics. And if you love skinny water fluke fishing as much as I do, check out my article and check out my video later in the broadcast. All in the July issue on newsstands now or in the mail. Now let's check in on the big weekend with News 12 meteorologist Rich Von Ohlen.
Hey, thanks, Matt. Hey, anglers, let's check the weekend forecast, see what we got going on. Holiday weekend forecast. You can always check out your favorite apps, websites, whatever tools you got for local weather as we get closer to the weekend. This is just a general overview, general heads up on what's happening. So I think the weekend's going to be a little half and half here. We start out with water temps, which have been coming up, mostly 60s, 70s now. Some lower 60s Jersey Shore. May have had a little upwelling the last few days. Wave heights are going to be tough on Saturday from what I see in the ocean. 2 to 4s, lots of 4 to 8s. It's going to be an east-northeast breeze and some rain with the front sitting around, so maybe the rougher day. Sunday looks like the better ocean day. If you want to go offshore, do some stuff in the ocean, I think it'll settle down midday afternoon nicely. There'll be some swells, some rolls left over. But, Saturday, look at this in the GFS here. A lot of green, some rain on there, east-northeast winds. If this doesn't change, Saturday's going to be a tough day to get out. We'll see as we get closer, but it's looking like Sunday as the front and all the weather begins to move out in the ocean. The winds do come down, go light and variable, eventually southwest. You could see a shower or two on Sunday, but definitely looks like less wind, the calmer day. High tides, North Shore early morning, South Shore from mid-afternoon on the weekend there, Saturday. About 70 on Saturday, kind of a cool day, about 80 on Sunday as it does warm up, but again, the winds will drop out. Let's check the Guru. Kind of confirming on Saturday, there's a lot of wind there, east-northeast. Unless this changes, that's kind of a rough day. You got those 4 to 6s there and a ton of rain here. Sunday is better, a little less breeze. Looks like a little more tolerable in the ocean, less in the way of rain. It's certainly looking like the pick of the weekend. So if I had to choose, I'd say Sunday the pick of the weekend. But either way, be safe, enjoy. Have a wonderful holiday weekend. Matt, back to you.
This week we will start from the west with Captain Mike Sentry, who is the latest from Staten Island. Mike?
Well, guys, Mike here from Anglers of Legend Sportfish. Fishing the Raritan Bay past couple of days produced plenty of short fluke. Unfortunately, no keepers were caught. Blame it on the wind, too fast of a drift. Couldn't hold bottom that well with the amount of ounces we were using. And even if you try switching it up to about a 3-ounce S Pro with gulp, it was just too heavy. You couldn't really feel the bite. So I switched it up to plugs and metals. Went on a scouting mission for birds, and boy did we found it. Found a bunch of birds, a bunch of gannets diving on what we thought were definitely spearings, and it was. Non-stop blue fishing, top water and metal plugs. Tsunami talking poppers, 4-inch and 6-inch, and the 3-ounce crocodile spoons produced all of the bites. We saw bass breaking water, but again, not too many of them left around, so it was all bluefish. And a couple of days before that, managed to do a shark trip inshore, right over here off the coast of pretty much Staten Island. Well, I was greeted with a nice greater hammerhead. That one was caught and released. Moved up north about 2 miles, get some decent life and definitely warmer water. Within probably 5 minutes of dropping the lines, we were using bunker, false albacore strips, bluefish strips, mackerel, and butterfish in our chunk. Within 5 minutes, lines came tight. The fish ended up pretty much fighting like a big brown shark, and to our surprise, it ended up being a great white. So I got it close to the boat, managed to get the 20-aught circle hook off, which was very good, and I swam away peacefully. Got some a couple of photos out of it. And a couple of days prior to that one, my friend Brian was out, and unfortunately got this great picture here. I managed to lose a really big thresher shark right at the side of the boat. Unfortunately, pulled the hook after about 2-hour fight. So from Anglers of Legends, Sportfish, Mike here. Tight lines, everybody. Back to you, Matt.
From Oceanside, we have Captain Joey Leggio. Hey, Joey, sorry about the sea robin graphic over your face last week. Okay, what's the good word?
Hey Matt, what's going on, brother? How are you today? All right, let's talk about the Debs Inlet area. So in the bay, we've been bombarded with weed, lots and lots and lots of seaweed, making it a little difficult for the fluke fishing. So it has slowed down quite a bit. I think once this weed moves off, we'll be fine again in the bay. These fish are definitely setting up on the offshore pieces now. I had reports coming in from the Nancy of good fishing at the Cholera with a mixed bag of sea bass and fluke. All the local pieces, AB Reef, Rockaway, McAllister, reports all coming in with fluke on those pieces as well. One of the things to do actually when you fluke in these wrecks, you can actually anchor up on a piece of structure and cast bucktails all around the structure. Get a spro bucktail, some gulp, fat cow strip, whatever it may be, even with bait, and just work all that area. You could even do a simple little ball weight and come up a couple inches, small little leader to have a hook with a teaser and gulp that way as well. That's one of Lorenzo's favorites to use on that rig too. But I'll give it a try also. If you want to work that structure, it works really good. On to the shark scene. I mean, the shark fishing still remains hot, probably your best bet. There's still a tremendous amount of treasures and some really large treasures. Past weekend we had the Hooks for Heroes shark tournament. So the first, second, and third place fish were all caught locally, which is pretty cool. So first place went to Nicky on the no time. He had an awesome 358 pounder, got him the win. Second place came in from Kenny Owens and his crew with a 308 pounder. And third, I believe, was Sammy. Sammy came in with a 225 pound thresher shark. So it's pretty cool. There's a tremendous amount of thresher sharks out there. Also, guys, you don't have to kill every one of these fish. I see a lot of people are actually getting really upset. You post a picture and people are just attacking people for having these pictures, which is illegal, which makes no sense. You can harvest these fish, but all these conservative groups are just bugging out. So you could, if you want, you could release your sharks. I have a video of Steve Fernandez. You can check this video out. Him releasing a real true giant thresher shark. So it's cool. So if you're not going to eat them, definitely release them. Whatever, make these people happy. Although we're doing nothing wrong, you are allowed to harvest these fish. But yeah, it definitely got people in an uproar. Anyway, I haven't tried the bridges or anything like that to know what's going on over there. I'm sure there's some stripers there. The outside, the striper scene has been not so great. I'm sure the guys to the west are catching, but out front of Debs, really not really much to talk about. So that's basically my report. Hopefully I'll have some more reports for you next week. And back to you, Matt.
Now let's check in with Fisherman Senior Editor Fred Golofaro with the Surf Report. Fred?
Hey Matt, and yeah, this holiday weekend's probably not the best time to be at the beach if fishing's your priority. There is some good news in that it looks like we're going to have some rain and clouds from tomorrow through Sunday, which should keep beach traffic to a minimum and provide some early morning, evening opportunities as well as nighttime, which is more typical this time of the year. If you're looking for bass, again, the same as last week. Best shot, I think, is at the inlets. That's the only place I'm getting any fairly consistent reports of decent fish anyway. There have been fish into the 20-pound class, even 30 pounds, from both Moriches and Shinnecock inlets over the past week. And I did hear from Phil at Cow Harbor that there's some good fish finding their way into the beaches along the Sound. It sounds like between Asheroken and the mouth of the Nissaquag River. So you might want to give that a shot, but those reports were prior to the heat wave. As far as bluefish go, the west end of the island still cooking with plenty of bluefish. That report from Bernie's Bait and Tackle in Sheepshead Bay. And the inlets, again, still producing bluefish, but mostly on the small side and probably not as consistent as it was a couple of weeks ago. If you had your fill of bass and blues, there's plenty of sharks along the south shore taking bunker chunks, especially at night. And you can always target fluke during the day. Bucktails tipped with gulp or fish bites will do the trick on the fluke. Matt, back to you.
Last week I got the opportunity to do some skinny water fluke fishing, which I wrote about in the recent issue of the Fisherman magazine. Click on the card for the read. I also captured some highlights on video. Check it out. The idea of light tackle shallow water fluke fishing appeals to many. While Long Island has several locations where it can be done, Shinnecock Bay certainly rates near the top of the list. With its clear ocean water filling the bay on every flood tide, you can watch fluke ambush your bait. The lighter the better. My personal choice is 10-pound Power Pro braid with a leader of 15 to 20-pound Seaguar inshore fluorocarbon. A uni-to-uni knot joins the two lines together. Don't shy away from light lines. With a properly set drag, you can land any fluke in the bay with this combo. If using bait, mate Dina recommends using spearing and fluke belly combo.
We're rigging up a nice piece of fluke ribbon from the morning trip. The afternoon, put on a spearing right through the eyeball.
So this is one of your favorite baits to go with for
this is just
skinny water fluke fishing?
It is.
Teasers are also very effective in shallow water. Tommy ties his own in different patterns depending on the time of the year.
I've been tying teasers for about 20 years, and my philosophy is I try to match the hatch, and I specialize in skinny water fluke teasers. As you can see, I've got a blue teaser here that I tie that we use as soon as the snappers come in. Blue is a hot item. A lot of guys don't fish blue. Then I have a spearing match or a sand eel match here, which is green and white for when the sand eels are in the water. And I tie a small, little tiny teaser that's basically pink for when the shrimp are in the water. And well, we know on the Shinnecock Star, and a lot of guys on Long Island know as the Gray Ghost, which happens to be the best teaser that I tie. It reminds people of a little porgy or a bunker in the water. And it's a very productive teaser. It's one of my favorites and a favorite of a lot of customers.
Gulp on a jig works also. Just keep the jigging motion close to the bottom to score. At times, the fluke will put its weight on the jig. An immediate hook set will pull the hook from the fish. Dropping the jig or bait back for a few seconds before setting the hook will give the fish enough time to eat. This technique takes some getting used to, but I highly recommend it. The Shinnecock Star specializes in this skinny water fluke fishery and is worth the trip out east to bring home a fluke dinner. Long Island Managing Editor Matt Broderick for the Fisherman magazine. Matt Bauer from Capt and Jones Beach Bait and Tackle has this report for us.
Thanks, Matt. This is Matt Bauer with Jones Beach Bait and Tackle and Capt Bait and Tackle. So right outside both the shops at the piers, there's been a lot of small bluefish as well as a lot of short fluke, with the occasional keeper fluke coming up here and there. At Jones Beach, Field 10, right outside the shop, Julio had this nice 4-pound fluke. It's the nicest fluke we've seen in a while, a really nice keeper. And also there's been snappers finally starting to show up, anywhere from 2 to 4 inches, not really a catchable size yet, but in the coming weeks, hopefully that'll be big enough for people to be able to catch, and you could take the kids out to catch them for maybe their first fish ever. It's a great starting fish to teach kids how to fish. So that is all for the reports for this week. Thank you, and back to you, Matt.
With our fly and freshwater report, we have Paul McCain from River Bay Outfitters.
Hello, Matt. Well, another week, another adventure. Here I am. I ran a shop trip. We're actually up on the Farmington in Connecticut. Gorgeous river, terrific fishing. Normally. Unfortunately, we hit 90-degree days, bright sunlight. It was tough fishing. Guys did catch fish. In fact, John, a newbie, caught his first trout. He was thrilled on a fly rod. First, after a week, trying for weeks, he finally caught his first trout with the help of Duck Dennis, who put at least 7 or 8 fish into the net this week, in 2 days. So, I mean, it's been tough fishing. I had a few strikes. I didn't connect. We're fishing tiny flies, 22s, 24s. But that's what I love about this river. You got to figure it out. My wife and I are going to go out. Hopefully, we're going to be able to put some fish in the net. We're going to try it one more night. It's been great. As far as saltwater goes, well, Liam, who reported back, he's been catching fish out east in a little. It was a stream that he normally catches schoolies, but he said there's been some very big bass back there. Also, all the captains are reporting bluefish right now is the big ticket. I've seen posts on large outside the bays, outside in the ocean, in the rips, these large choppers. It's like I said, it's been hot. No air conditioning up here. It's been really great, but I love it, and I'm looking forward to my next adventure on the Housatonic, fishing for smallmouth, and I'll keep you posted on that. Until next week, tight lines, everybody.
From the Fire Island and Great South Bay area, let's check in with Captain Al Lorenzetti.
Hey, Matt. Fire Island report. Looks like there's a fluke bite. Wind's been blowing, so I don't really have much of a report from offshore. Nobody's really gotten out there doing any sea bass fishing. You know, I'm catching some big bluefish inside, a couple of keeper fluke here and there. And also last weekend, the Bergen Bay Dock Shark Tournament went off, and I have the results here. First place, Mako by Brian Mern on Real Reprieve, 229 Mako. Second place, Clinton Harrelson, a 200-pound Mako. First place, Thresher, Pat Hen on Sons of Beaches, a 228 Thresher. And second place, Thresher Lou Margarita, and that's a 175 Thresher. Over 100 sharks were tagged and released, and over $8,000 was donated to the Thiessen Foundation. So that's it for this week, Matt, and see you next week. Have a great one. Bye-bye.
From Northport, we have Mark McGowan from Cow Harbor Bait and Tackle.
What a change up in the fishing in the past 3-4 days. The fish are not on the surface like they were. These warm temps have really driven them deeper, and that means that if you're fishing from the beach, you're hitting those evening tides late at night when the water's cool, it's settled down, and the fish will come in. If you're fishing in the daytime, I see a lot of stuff. If you're a boat guy, down in there 50 to 80 feet mark, and the fish will be packed up in there, which means you can switch over, do some baits. It's hard to troll wire if you're a boat guy in that type of depth, so that's when these mojos really come in on braid. You can change up onto the jigging and absolutely go bait, because you can get down to the bottom, anchor your boat up, and you'll find that it's going to be really nice. Again, always look for that change in tides. As far as fluke, porgy, sea bass that are out there, they're doing really well. There's a lot of sea bass on some of these wrecks that we have, so you really have to pick around to find them. Porgies are very consistent in the rocks and in the mussel beds still, and that's great stuff to do if you're a daytime fisherman, and you can get out there. Bluefish, of course, bluefish are going to be all day into the evening, but they're mainly, I find, on those change of the tides. That's when your activity is going to increase, and that's if you go for bluefish. These bluefish, they're laying low, but they're racing all over the place. They're not really schooled up on bait where it's that jigging opportunity yet. So we're waiting for that. You can pull a lot of wire, bait, all different types of techniques to get these fish. There's a lot of fish out there, but again, with these warm temps, look for this break that we're gonna have. If we're supposed to have, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, coming into the 4th of July weekend, where the temps are gonna drop, and then we're gonna get this storm. Usually after this storm, it pushes through, you get some beautiful weather, and that's going to be great news for us this weekend. Listen, really watch out for, keep your eye on the wind and the lightning. A little bit of rain is not a bad thing. These fish can go crazy, and a nice, beautiful rain brings a lot of oxygen, and it cools the top section of the water column, and that's what we look for if you're a beach guy. All right, listen, I hope to see you. Have a happy, safe 4th of July, and as always, I bid you peace, tight lines.
From Shinnecock, let's check it with Mike Dean. Mike?
Thanks, Matt. Hey, everyone. Pretty good fishing going on here. The wind's been a little bit of a hassle. There are some 15 to 30-pound bass that have been caught back in the bay. Closer you are to the inlet, the better. That cold ocean water at incoming, kind of seems like what the bass want. There's smaller fish that are, in the marshes that have just a ton of bait flipping around. I fish pretty much sunset, just about every day I can, and I've gotten into some small bass. There are still some blues, not the small cocktail blues, not the gators, but even though they're kind of sporadic, they're a little bit bigger than they had been a week or two before. Real nice catch to mention, Paul Vicentin, going out of Shinnecock on the Provider, just under 600-pound bluefin, weighed in at Oakland's, just spectacular fish. Blue water action tackle, those fluorocarbon leaders had made a real difference on some of the cat. They had a few other fish, but obviously this one was the highlight. The bass fishing out of Montauk is spectacular. I'm sure Tim O'Rourke can tell you that. I was out there last Thursday with some friends. We just had a night to remember. 21 fish between 4 of us, 1 short, 20 others between 35 and 50 pounds. And I needed a hand holding one of them up. So even though the weather doesn't look too great for this weekend, should still be able to get out on the beach, put a clam belly or a chunk in there, see if somebody wants to play, and also in the back bays for some bass. The fluke are still around in the skinny water in Shinnecock, west of Ponquag. So, if you're looking to sneak away from the wind and the rain doesn't hit us too bad, that could be a plan as well. So enjoy a long weekend. Happy 4th. Let us know how you do. If any questions or anything, feel free to leave a comment. Reach out to any of us on social media, and I'll talk to you next week. Back to you, Matt.
Now let's check in with Captain Timothy O'Rourke from Montauk. Tim?
Thank you, Matt. Well, greetings from Montauk this week. Fishing is just getting better and better. I've got a report from Kenny Hadacek on the My Joyce. Some decent tuna fishing around, and it's July 4th weekend coming up. So in regards to light tackle and fly fishing, we've been doing incredibly well on these large bluefish. It's about as easy as it comes, you know. It's really nice to see them coming back like this. These fish are all 15 to 18 pounds. A lot of fun on fly rods and a lot of fun on light tackle. During the right tide, we're still getting some decent bass on topwater bite on flies, anywhere from like 26, 28, sometimes up to 30-inch fish. Shallow water sight fishing still going good. The water's still nice and clear. We're seeing a lot of fish on the flats. Kenny Hadacek reported from the My Joyce. The striped bass fishing is just phenomenal for these guys out here. Pretty much all the charter guys you talk to are coming in 45, 50-pound fish consistently. And fluking's really doing well as well. Sea bass opened up. I had a couple limits of sea bass on one of my trips on Saturday, and they're just easy picking, a lot of nice big fish. Offshore tuna bites kicking in. Hearing some reports of big eyes. There's some white marlin being caught. Again, it's July 4th weekend, so everybody don't forget what kind of a great country we live in. Get out there and enjoy it. Have fun with your friends and family and catch them up.
If you would like to be a part of our weekly video fishing forecast, we are looking for social media savvy anglers for hyperlocal reporting for around the New York Metro and Long Island area. So if you're a captain, tackle shop, or just an avid angler, contact my producer at libayrat@gmail.com. Remember to like our videos, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and tap on the bell to be notified instantly when we post a new video on YouTube. And of course, to be a subscriber to the Fisherman magazine to be part of the Dream Boat Contest and Coastal Kayak Clash. Check out this video's description on YouTube for all the related links and index for specific reports. And please support our correspondents by visiting their websites and social media pages. See you right here next week at thenewfisherman.com.
Steigercraft boats, built by people who fish our waters. Serious anglers choose Steigercraft for their 40 years of boat building experience right here in the Northeast and Mid-Atlantic. Visit steigercraft.com for a dealer near you.